So my brother, dad, and I went out to do some fishing and diving. This would be our first dive trip of the year, so we were pretty excited. We went to a place called BB and we started on some culverts over there. We like culverts because you can generally find a lot of flounder and some other good fish, sometimes grouper and stuff like that over them. They're pretty good in general because they're, I don't know, maybe because they're bigger than just a tug or what, but they tend to hold fish pretty good. We went down and dove on it, but we didn't really do any good. I mean, we seen some stuff and shot a few spades, but there just wasn't any flounder like there usually are. They usually like the sand, and there weren't any in the sand, except for one little flounder. But it's kind of funny though, because when we get up to the surface, my dad had already caught a kingfish, and he had a nice dolphin on the line, which is funny because usually this time of year, you know, you run 50, 60 miles for him, and we were, you know, 15-ish miles, and he had a nice dolphin on the line. Fortunately though, it got off, you know, it's kind of tough. He was by himself, so he couldn't, you know, stop for him to fight the fish, gap it, move around the boat, and do all that stuff. The one thing we did see a lot of while we were diving was remora. And we've caught a lot of remora this year, but man, there were like 3 or 4 of them. And they really like Christopher for some reason. At one point I looked back and he's like literally like punching and karate chopping these remora, just trying to get them off them. So our next dive was in the BB area, and it was on a sunken ship. And when we went down on the ship, it was a pretty good wreck. A lot of it was there, but it was still broken up, so that there were kind of scattered pieces, and it seems when it's broken up, I guess it just creates more area for the fish to hide in. So we generally do better on wrecks like that. This wreck had a lot of amberjack on it, spade fish. We shot some spade fish. Had a few different pieces, you know, kind of the main piece, but then there were some side pieces, which I think to help draw fish in, but still no flounder. One thing I saw, which was pretty cool, and I've never seen this before, at least not that far offshore, and that was a big school of what looked like Spanish mackerel. Could have been small king mackerel, but it was pretty cool. They came over the wreck, and it was just probably like 100 or so of them. You know, just looking up, and it was really neat to get that view, because you usually don't see pelagic fish like that, those striking fish, while diving. Usually it's the bottom fish and the kind of fish that hold right to the bottom structure. And there was a lot of bait there too, so I imagine that's kind of what drew them in. Deep in the wreck is where Christopher found sheep's head, and he really had to work to get that sheep's head because, you know, they really hide back in there, but he finally got a shot on him, and I was able to stick one. Another thing that I saw was a fairly new broken, you know, bottom rod, about half the bottom rod, just on the bottom. And not far from that was a Goliath Grouper. So I think we all know how that story played out. Mister, if you want your ride back down there next to that Goliath Grouper. So the dives were pretty fun. It was cool to learn a new area where we fish. When we got back on the surface, because my dad was doing good catching kings and dolphin and stuff like that, we decided to do some trolling of our own. So we put out our spread and some live pogies and started trolling. What we were really getting into were Bonita. Bonita are pretty cool fish, and they fight real hard. They're not good to eat, kind of bony, kind of bloody, but they're definitely fun to catch. And that day we were getting double headers, just, you know, a couple of them would hit. You know, we had, I think, 3 on at one time. And we managed to get 2 of them in the boat, and it was pretty crazy.
Another fish.
That'd be nice.
Good job, guys. We did it. We survived. Not that we're back yet, but I'm confident. And we had some crazy runs with Bonita's double and triple headers. And did some diving, seen some cool stuff. Didn't shoot as many flounders as we'd hoped, but wasn't too bad. Fortunately, Chris's glasses broke today. Kind of cool.
995 ones.
You gotta hold in with your eye like it was a Monopoly guy. It's kind of like.
They don't call it real hazardous for nothing.
I feel like he's from the X-Men Cyclops. He's always about to blast somebody. So until next time, we'll see you guys soon.
On the next adventure.
Blast him, Christopher.